Hey everyone, Greg here. As you may know by now, I'm the co-founder and CEO of TripShock, an online reseller for water sports and tours. For the past 12 years, we've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of operators across the country, and we're looking to grow our community. It's free to sign up, and you only pay when we bring you confirmed bookings. We'll help you reach new customers, fill empty seats, and grow your business like so many have done with us over the years. Head over to partners.tripshock.com to learn more about our program, read testimonials, or speak directly with our supply team. As always, thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
They come to relax, enjoy the beach, have fun, and spend money. And that's where we come in. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. Find out tips on the best ways to market and operate a water sports business. If you're a water sports operator, you need to grow your brand, operate more safely, upgrade your operations, and of course, increase bookings. We're industry veterans, broadcasting from Destin, Florida. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. And this is Kevin O'Neill and Greg Fisher.
Do you know that you are one of the few people that when I talk to, like, I immediately, like, I'm like happy. Like even before the conversation, like, I know, like, we're going to have fun talking. It's not going to be, abrasive. It's just, we're just going to have fun. And there's, like I said, there's like a limited amount of people in my close spaces that, like, I feel that way. And I think that's really important for people to like, have that close circle of people that when you talk, it's going to be positive. I mean, there might be times where it's not going to always be great, but at the same time, even when you're not having a good day, you can rely on those people and they're going to lift you up. Yeah.
Like Kai. I think like that's what ended up happening, like to the show. The show ended up like becoming this like almost like I don't know, like network, like, like it really became like an entrepreneur episode. And I started off the show. I was going to try to organically sway it back to like how because we were talking before Greg hit record, and then Greg's like, "Oh, we got to record this." So I was like, "I'm depressed." That's how I started. Like, I'm depressed until I get to talk to Greg or, guys like Kai and the guests that we have on the show, and like this network that I've been lucky enough to have. Like, I feel like this show has sort of become like a de facto sounding board for. It's like our happy hour, right? So when our crew gets off, they go out and have beers and they talk about the day and they talk about the bullshit they got to go through. We don't really, we do that like in an opposite way. So like happy hour when you're an employee, I feel like sort of becomes like a bitch fest, right? Yeah. Our relationship works inverse of that, and our network works inverse of that, because you're not going to really call somebody up and be like, man, I'm dealing with my like whatever, somebody quit, or a bookkeeping problem, or like one of the 900 problems you deal with day to day as an entrepreneur and a business owner. We don't call each other up and do that. We just kind of like talk about the future. Like every once in a blue moon, we'll like kick in like an aside, like, something like, yeah, I had this going on. So it's like, yeah, that sucks. Well, and then we get back on like up to the positivity train. So, I mean,
So speaking of Kai Kaapro, he is our guest today. He's from Paddle Pub, CEO and founder. And it was it was more of like a how I built this entrepreneurial episode. But this is episode 50, guys. So we did 50 episodes. That's pretty phenomenal considering that, where we came from. So I got to give ourselves a pat on the back and appreciate everyone for tuning in. I mean, I think we crossed the 5,000 download mark. I think it was a couple weeks ago, so that's pretty awesome. And we got some updates. We got to talk about a few things today. First and foremost, we mentioned, I think in the last episode, that the Arrival conference in October was rescheduled, and we didn't give a whole lot of backstory. But I mean, COVID is getting bad again in Florida, and I totally understand why they had to cancel it. and reschedule.
But I bet you by October it's a blip, man. I guarantee.
Yeah, I know.
By October it is good. And I'm not saying this to like pump up our own shit. Like I think they pulled the trigger prematurely. Like I get that it's in the news, but I think in another 2 to 3 weeks, like it's going to start cycling it's going to cycle out of the, news cycle. And like you can already see that like I've read 3 articles today that are now dealing with like, the falling delta has peaked. Well, you can start to see, like the next.
Well, it's not.
Piece of the narrative.
I don't think that they wanted to can't do that. The issue is that all the contracts they have, it's a 60-day, window where you have to let. So, they probably didn't want to make that call. They probably would have wanted to keep it going, but it could have been a huge loss if things did not turn out.
No, I get it, but I really do think by the time, I think even like maybe 30 days out, we're just gonna, and again, and now to pump up our shit, like if that's your concern, I really, and maybe I'm wrong. It's very seldom that I am wrong, but maybe I am wrong.
So, if you have a ticket for Arrival, just hold it. They're going to announce the event. They said they're going to have it in January with new dates, a new location, probably out west. I think they said I heard like Vegas, I heard San Diego, I heard Phoenix, I heard Denver. I mean, there's a whole slew of different options, but it's probably going to be out west.
I heard Alaska.
Alaska?
No, I'm kidding.
That would actually have been cool. I would love to go there. Hold on to your ticket. They're going to announce it and go. And we actually still plan on doing a water sport event when it's out west too. But let's talk about the event in October. So when we heard that the event was going to be, Arrival was going to be rescheduled, we got with the organizers and said, hey, we would love to still have the Water Sport Forum. A lot of the listeners reached out to us and asked if we could still continue to do the event. And I said, yeah, let's do this. It's not going to be as a large of event. Obviously, we're expecting 50 to 100 people at the forum. We can manage this a lot easier. So we went and created a full day event. The forum was supposed to be just the roundtables, but now we have a full day event. We have presenters. We have Justin Buzzy from Get Up and Go Kayaking. He's going to talk to us about branding and social media. We got Jason Crotto from Horizon Revenue Management, talk about pricing strategies. Douglas Quimby, CEO of Arrival, is going to come down and moderate and do a presentation. So the Arrival folks are still going to have a presence there. We got a really solid event. And one of the best things to come out of this is I know some of you were hesitant on the price of Arrival because, you had to have an Arrival ticket to attend the forum. But in this instance, you don't have to have an Arrival ticket. It's going to be $100 per person. And that includes lunch. It includes the pre and post parties. It includes the event. You only have to book your room, which we are about 99% sure it's going to be at the Rosen Plaza and iDrive. And we got a group rates at $139. And I'm going to make sure this is all in the show notes so everyone can look at it. But we've actually had about 25 people already sign up, and we just need 50 to put this on. So I hope by then.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Go ahead.
Let me pitch for real pitch. Listen, if you guys are coming to Arrival for like the networking possibilities, and you think, man, this is such a small group, water sport if you're just coming for you don't care about the content. All right. Oh, I know about branding and social media. Oh, I know about pricing strategies. Oh, I know about company culture. I know about all this shit. Come for the networking. I mean, if you can walk out of there with 5 people, that again, like it's so valuable, for $100 to go and spend the day with a bunch of like-minded people. It has been a hell of 18 months, man. Like it's been a really, really, really long season, man. So, come to Orlando. Even if you want to just, I mean, my God, have you had the steakhouses there? Incredible. And you get an opportunity to come and sit down with a bunch of like-minded guys and have some drinks and add some phone numbers to your contact list, because I've logged, 50 shows. We have logged a lot of time and a lot of effort into this. And I can tell you that the networking that this show has provided us has been it's immeasurable. Like the friendships, I mean, the return on the investment of time that we put into this has been awesome. So you get to skip 50 shows and just come and reap the benefits of the network that AWG has been trying to cultivate.
Yeah, it's going to be quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like our motto here, because the people that I know that are attending, these are some of the brightest minds in boat tour water sport operation, hands down. And where else can you go and talk and network with these folks? If you're looking to really, up your game with your business, like there's no better place to be. And I know by the time, this announcement goes out, the event's going to sell out. We're going to max it out at 100.
And if nothing, you get to come hang out with me and Greg. Like I'm coming just to hang out with our guest, number 50, Kai, man. Like, dude, I love this guy, man. What a great show this was, huh?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah. So Kai has a great story. This is a guy who went to law school and ended up, getting in the water sport boat tour business.
Pisses me off so bad, dude. Like, I hate that. Like, I fell into my shit out of I'm like, man, I was not a big risk taker, when I was younger, mm-hmm. man. Like, I just kind of fell into this whole world and to hear his story where he's just like, well, yeah, like graduated law school, like summa cum laude. Like, he's just one of these forces, dude, that's like, no matter what, if it wouldn't have been like, paddle boat tours, it would have been something else, man. So I love this episode. I thought Kai was great. He gives off that North Carolina, that Raleigh vibe, you know what I mean? I really, and I know he's not from there, but I'm a huge fan of North Carolina, the state, but I love what they got going. I loved his story, man. And I loved this. I loved being a part of this episode. It was really great. Not to take away from the other 49 episodes that we did, but this was a good one.
And Kai's going to be, at the forum too. So this is one of those guys that
be Kai's friend.
You got to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Since we don't do video, you don't get to see his mustache. So you should come and see his mustache and my beard. Because my beard is getting really epic, man. It's just getting. I'm your baby face, and I'm old face.
Yeah, my baby face went away now.
You got dude, you got that like it's almost like the Taliban-y looking beard a little bit going there, man. You might want to.
Oh well, thanks.
Looking for. I don't even know what that means.
No, it's crazy.
Don't you dare edit that out.
Did you see what I've been getting into lately?
I hope it had nothing to do with the Taliban.
No.
I've been on these Al Qaeda message boards, NFTs. I fucking know. Of course, I know what you're getting ready to talk about, dude.
Oh yeah, you see that? Yeah, man, it's so wild.
You're a man.
Yeah, I was up till like 1 a.m. last night talking to Justin Buzzy because Justin has made $50,000 in 3 weeks buying and selling JPEGs.
NFTs.
Yeah, JPEGs. I'll call them JPEGs because that's what they are, just pictures. It's really amazing, and I'm going hard on one collection called Base Fish Mafia.
Just a heads up, guys, if you want to skip like the next 5 minutes, if you don't get fucking bored to death.
Yeah, you can hit the 30-second.
Yeah, but if you want clicking that, if you want to become a millionaire on fucking more Greg's fucking speculative fucking shit, fucking tune in now. I'm too much of a pussy, dude. I feel like, I don't know, I'm too scared. It's like, I just don't understand it, man. Like, it just seems like, I don't know. You've been researching this for like how long?
Well, I just sold, I bought 60 of them. Anywhere from like 100 to a couple $1,000 for each one. And I had my first flip yesterday. I made like, $100 after I paid the fees. But
I thought you were going to have something crazy, dude. I thought I was waiting for some huge return on that.
But this is me, like my first foray into it. But Justin made like 25. Justin's Get Up and Go Kayaking. Get a shout out to Justin. Justin made like 25,000 selling one. He held it for like 3 weeks. It's like you're buying and selling art or trading cards or whatever. I mean, it's really wild. I mean,
I feel like if you're not in it now, you're gonna be left holding the bag. Like, and I feel like, man, am I too late? Should I get in on it now for like so I understand like the next iteration of it, but man, I feel so old, dude. I don't want to like learn anything else, man. I'm like, NFTs and crypto and like, I can't even like, man, they like Coinbase keeps on like, won't accept me because they're like verifying. It's really weird because I have like my bank is all super protected. I got hacked. So like I got like all these like, you know, all these different verification methods. So I can't just like log in, just start my Coinbase account. And then I get frustrated and I'm like, give up. And I don't know, man. And NFTs is just like, you're buying JPEGs and it's just like, it's so like counterintuitive to me. And I know that there's money in it. There's a
whole system to it. And, I mean, I'm new, so I'm not going to give any advice because I'm new to it, but I'm learning. But it's really fascinating.
Listen, save it. Yeah, it's like more like Tulip Mania. Let's be fucking honest, dude. Like the Gold Rush, at least he had something like fucking tangible that's still worth money today. So, but this is, I feel like that there's more to come of this, you know, like the gamification and how NFTs will be created, you know, translated into this different product or whatever. Like you can buy this like armor that only, you know, there's only one set of this armor. Maybe when we get to like Ready Player One world, like that shit will start to actually happen, you know, but is anybody paying like $100,000 for this special car or whatever that you can get in like whatever Grand Theft Auto or whatever fucking racing game is hot right now? Like, are we to that point yet? Or are NFTs like the very beginning of this? And I think the same thing happens with crypto where a guy like me is like a little hesitant because it's like, well, is Bitcoin the gold standard? Is it now, like, or is it too late? Like, you know what I mean? Are these NFTs, these JPEGs, like the beginning of something, and then they're gonna like dip, and then there's the next thing, and you want to get in on that now? So I sort of understand having like spending the time. I think for those of us that are going to try and get into it now, I think it's going to be an expensive lesson for an understanding of how to get into the next thing, whatever the next version of NFTs are. Then you have a better understanding of it by getting involved now rather than later. I personally think that you just burned your money on this one. I'm not sure because what creates value, and I understand it's a scarcity.
Well, what it is like the community and just people, just like baseball cards, right? Like baseball cards, you know, were a commodity because people wanted it. You know, you get the Major League Baseball. It's a pastime. Everyone knows about it. They follow.
But there's only one Honus Wagner card, right? There's only one Michael Jordan. No, but I mean Wagner.
Yeah, there's very few. But with NFTs, it's the same thing. Like when there's a collection, there's only one unique one in the collection, depending on how they set it up. But it's all about the community, and if people like the art, and do they like the community? I mean, just like Pokemon. Like Pokemon cards are worth a ton because people love the ecosystem that they build.
Yeah.
So that's what gives it value. But it's a lot that goes into it. We can talk about it for hours, and this has been like the longest intro.
I could not talk about it for hours. Just so we're clear here, rest of my dumb water sport operator guys, and I will not talk about it for hours. So without further ado, let's bring on the guys and fucking get with it.
We have today Kai Kaapro, CEO and founder of TourScale, with us. And Kai, you actually get to be our 50th episode interview.
Yay.
I don't know. It's like a badge of honor or maybe not. I know, but it's a special moment. 50 episodes.
More like a mark of shame. Fucking scarlet letter.
Scarlet letter. I met Kai from an introduction from Bruce from Arrival, and I loved his business. I'm going to let him introduce his business and talk about it. And so Kai, take it away. How did you get into water sports? What's your story?
Yeah, so we started off 10 years ago with the party bike industry. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's where everyone's pedaling and drinking on a large vehicle. So we started doing that and expanding to other cities. And at a certain point, we thought it would be a great concept on the water as well. So we saw an initial manufacturer start building cycle boats. We got really excited about it because it's right up our alley. But we were completely green pretty much to the water, right? To manufacturing, to the Coast Guard, to all the regulations and how to get a slip. So we came into it blind about 3.5 years ago. We launched Paddle Pub. So that's our operating company for our pedal powered tours. Initially, we started doing contract manufacturing out of Indiana. And eventually we started our own manufacturing company in Florida where we produce the boats. Most of our boats are 26 passenger Coast Guard certified vessels. There's 12 pedaling stations. Everyone pedals and it moves a giant paddle wheel in the back. People listen to music and get pretty drunk and dance around and have the time of their lives.
That sounds pretty exciting.
Drunk dancing on the water.
Yeah, so we started initially in Fort Lauderdale, Miami. We expanded into Madison, Wisconsin, San Diego, Austin, Texas, Long Island, New York, with a lot of new cities opening up over the next 12 months. Some of the locations are directly operated. Last year we launched TourScale, which is our franchise. It's a national franchise for Trolley Pub, which is our party bike operation, and Paddle Pub, which is a cycle boat operation. And to date, we've signed up about 17 franchised outlets since last November. That's between both concepts.
How did you think about this? I mean, how did this all happen? Like, where did you get the inspiration for it?
Well, initially, when I started Trolley Pub, I saw those crazy devices, online that were opening up in the Netherlands and Europe. And I've always been a big fan of cycling, but unique ways to drink, let's put it that way. So when I saw my first paddle pub, a lot of people find it obnoxious. And to me, it was like manna from heaven. I just devoted my life to it right away. I was fresh out of law school and starting a law career. I pretty much quit everything I was doing and started opening up trolley pub locations. I always wanted to get it on the water, but I lacked sort of the know-how or the capital to really do that. So when I finally saw Cascade cycle boats open up in Bend, Oregon, I was like, holy crap, I've wanted to do this for so long. We got to get involved somehow, we got to get this thing started. It took us a couple years, but we decided to do it ourselves. Like I said, design our own boat because, nothing against the Cascade cycle boats. We were just looking for something a little different. We wanted bigger, badder boats. And we figured the only way to do it was to build it ourselves. So we just kept going.
You're one of those guys, man. It drives me nuts. Like when I got done with law school, so I was basically a lawyer, and then I decided to form this huge company. Like, God damn it! Like, a wonderful mustache, head of hair, fucking just successful. God damn, man! First time I got on a boat, like I fell over. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm 30 years old.
hey,
that's a great story, man.
It's a great story, but in practice, it wasn't pretty. You know what I mean? I quit my fancy job. I moved to a city I'd never been to before, Raleigh. I couldn't even afford. I had to borrow my girlfriend's dad's truck to drive. I was so poor at first. I paid myself hardly nothing for years, and the damn things just would break down every week. So I was always out there with grease on my hands and wrenches and wondering why I even got involved in this business. I think I'm just super stubborn. A lot of people will start a business, and when it gets really annoying, they kind of put it on auto mode. We'll start taking money out and stuff. I'm just really stubborn. I'm obsessed with this idea, and I've never stopped trying to grow it.
Kai, when did you know that this is actually a good thing? Like we got some momentum. Was there a certain point where you realized this is gonna be something big?
Yeah, and let me focus on the paddle pub side.
Yeah,
since
sure.
That's the topic of this podcast. So before we launched it, my partner, and which by the way, my partner's my college buddy Andrew Cole, who's a great business partner. He's like the left brain, and I'm like the right. We didn't know if anyone would want to do it. We thought the whole point of the trolley pub was that you're seen, you get to go to the different bars, and there was some worry, especially from other people. I knew people would do it, but that it wouldn't be the same experience on the water. You're not as visible. Like with the trolley pub, it's like you're in a parade. Everyone is hollering at you on the sides of the streets, or they're flipping you off because they don't like it. But it's like this experience of interacting.
How dare you have fun?
Oh yeah, there's nothing hipsters hate more than seeing other people unambiguously enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
So
and then when you take their identity by taking back the mustache, they hate that too.
That's what I'm just appropriating it, right? I'm bringing it back to like the real man thing, and not like I smoke cigarettes and don't have a job thing.
Listen, have you ever heard like it's like a meme? It's like punch a hipster in the face. I did that one time, dude. I punched this kid so fucking hard in the face, dude. He was sitting down and he had like this stupid cap on. Like I like knocked him out dead, like flat out in his seat. It was as gratifying as you think it would be. Like the meme did not do it fucking justice. Like I was.
Did you do it just for the meme, or did he do something?
No, he dismissed me. I was really drunk, and he was like I was being really friendly, like maybe overly friendly, and then he dismissed me, and then like I like stewed about it for like 20 seconds, and then I punched down like right in a dumb hipster face. But yeah, I mean, if you know,
so you don't take rejection well.
I don't. That's how I got my wife. I punched her right in the face. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm in love.
Very old fashioned.
Don't let us. Yeah. Don't let me fucking derail us, man. Because I got a really bad. Because Kai, man, you got like a crazy story. I wish you wouldn't have sprung this one on me. I think you did tell me, but like I'm familiar with your brand. I'm not familiar with your brand. As like I would have done like more research. It's been a crazy week. I would have done more research because I am familiar with your brand, and I didn't realize that's who you were, man. That's awesome, man. So, Paddle Pub has been around. Tell me again, for how long?
About 4 years, probably.
And now it's franchised out. I just want to
correct.
We like jumped around a couple things here. So you have how many locations currently?
About 7. 3 are directly owned and operated, and 4 are franchised. And we have about 3 or 4 more locations in the pipeline to launch, mostly next spring and summer. I'm sorry, I hate to diverge real quick, but I got to ask you another question, because there's Paddle Pub and then there's Pedal Pub too, right? With an E? Correct.
So you're not affiliated with them.
I'm not. No, we own Trolley Pub.
Okay.
So Trolley Pub is our party
bike.
Same
concept, or?
Pedal Pub's the same concept. They're older and bigger than we are. Their bikes all come from the Netherlands. So we're like the scrappy, less funded version of Pedal Pub that actually knows how to do operations, I would say. Pedal Pub is like private equity owned, and they're trying to do like a roll up where they resell it again. So our brand of the franchise is we get our hands dirty. You know, we know how to make a location successful. You know, we're not trying to sell our company for tens of millions of dollars to some VC. You know, we're like you. We've done the work. You know.
So what did you know about business going into this? Did you have like any background in business besides like?
Absolutely nothing. And I actually never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was younger. I had a crazy, super religious childhood, which was interesting. Like my parents went to seminary, were going to be missionaries. I was super sheltered from the world, went to college, got in a lot of trouble. And I was getting ready to graduate, and I realized I just never made any plans what to do after college. I never thought that was a thing. It just didn't feel like college was ever going to end. And then all of a sudden I had to get a job. So I went to law school to kind of delay that decision a little longer, give me 3 more years. And then I think the business made me an entrepreneur. Like I knew nothing about business. I really didn't know much about law either. You know, I'd just gone to law school. My only real experience was like running a fraternity, which, you know, gave me some insight, but I was young and I drank lots of caffeine, and I kind of just figured it out, trial and error, you know. That was it.
How as part of like of your, because I like sidebar entrepreneurship, like how risk adverse are you? Like, are you willing to bet the house, like literally?
Yeah, so I think that's what it was. Is I'm not risk averse at all. And at that point in my life, I didn't have anything to lose, you know, like I didn't have any money. I figured the worst I could do is delay my law career for a few years. And this looks really fun, and it makes people happy, and it makes me happy. So I'm just going to do it. And, you know, we've never pulled a single dollar out of the business since. It's been 10 years. Like pretty much every year we roll all the profits back in and reinvest it. I've never really had a desire to relax or take money out. We just literally are on a mission to do this, you know, like this is my calling. I want people to pedal and get drunk. I don't care if it's on the water or on land, whether we build a plane to make the wings flap and people and pedal to do it. That's what I do, you know?
You guys ever had any any hipsters get punched in the face while you're out there? Somebody like tackle the other guy into the water?
On the
drunken
boat?
brawl? Hell yeah, dude. Like,
I do.
My dreams.
Can hipsters swim? I don't think they swim.
They don't. They don't, man. Well,
I don't think they do. I think they would buy vintage life vests that wouldn't work.
Like shitty, like really expensive vintage.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, give me an IPA, sir.
But so like, yeah, so we had no idea what we were doing. And I made lots of mistakes. So most of what I know about running the business is from solving the problems that made me miserable as we grew, you know? So it's like literally learning on the job. And that's my education for a business.
So you said, I'm misunderstanding your timeline. Did you say 10 years?
Yeah, we started Trolley Pub.
Gotcha.
The original party bike business in 2011.
Okay.
In January 2011, I was still a student. I was still law school. And we started Paddle Pub in 2018.
Gotcha. All right. Because I remember seeing those in Miami, and I was like driving by. I was like, man, look at that. I was like, fuck those people, man. There's my mustache. Got a really nice whiskey.
Yeah. Single malt, single barrel.
I remember seeing those in Miami, thinking like, man, and you know, I've had people like one of my partners like tried to like pitch me. I don't know. We've looked at it, you know, the paddle pub, the paddle pub, man. Like, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good idea.
People love it. I mean, that's the important thing. And that's, you know, when I first decided to quit, we just opened in Raleigh for the trolley pub side, but I was here, and within the first night I met super hot girl. And then I saw everyone having a great time coming back from a tour, and right then and there, like, I called my partner. I said, I'm not coming back to Austin. I'm moving to Raleigh, and I'm going to do this full time. And it's because I realized how happy, like, those people got off and said that was the most fun they've had since they were in college. And I just wanted to recreate that moment for as many people as possible. Like, I knew people would buy that feeling, you know, of being able to let go and feel young again and have a blast.
Do you have to have a liquor license or a beer and wine license, or is it BYOB, or how does that work?
Yeah, so on the boat and the water, it's BYOB. In a lot of states, you can get a liquor license for boats, unlike vehicles. But honestly, it's really not worth the logistics of dealing with inventory. And, you know, it's much better just to sell the experience and let them bring their own to keep operations simple. Because it's like adding a whole second business to an already difficult thing to manage.
When someone looks to be a franchisee, do you have a qualification process, or is like, do you got the money? Do you have experience? You're good. Like, do you make sure that the locations are sustainable? I mean, obviously the last thing you want to do is sell someone a boat and then they don't know how to run it, or they have a terrible location. Yeah,
I mean, that's extremely important. And getting in a franchise relationship with somebody is you're going to be with them for a long time. Right? Like, they're going to be a franchisee. I'm going to be supporting them. You know, we don't want someone to join who frankly, we don't enjoy working with first, because we're going to be interacting with them for a long time. There is a qualification process. Most of it is financial, and some of it's based on experience. They need to have the necessary capital. They need to obviously have good credit and have a clean background, and they should, if they don't have business experience, I'm not going to cut them out right there, because everyone starts somewhere, right? I should sense in them a lot of passion for this, having something relevant in their background, and you know, like, to feel that drive. If it's just like a side investment, it's not going to work, right? Like, people got to be all in on this.
How involved are you once they become a franchise? How do you help with marketing? Do you reinvest the royalty fees?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. We provide a lot of the upfront training. Obviously, we're going to guide them through the Coast Guard process. They're going to learn how to recruit captains, how to staff, how to manage captains and first mates, how to find a slip, how to maintain your boat. We provide the website, the booking system. Additionally, we also have marketing support through our director of marketing. So we're not actually running their marketing, but we are sending out the quarterly campaigns. So we get a lot of content like pre-cut videos. They're going to get the actual content to use, what channels to use, even send custom audiences. We're saying, hey, we see this is working here. We're going to push this to the other location. So we try to maximize everyone's sales based on what we learn from the scale that we're at. And then they get the support from the manufacturing company that we own, which is one of the biggest limitations to this industry. When we started Trolley Pub, the thing that held us back the most was we couldn't get trolley pubs fast enough, because most of the builders out there were just like mom and pop shops. They might build 5 to 7 a year. If I need to open a new trolley city and I need 3 in one city and then 4 for the other, like it would take us 2 years to get the trolleys. So when we decided to launch this business and the franchise, we realized right away we have to literally start a manufacturing company to even do this, because we have to be able to build these at the production level we need to allow our locations to scale quickly. And building a boat is really hard, and it usually takes months. Our production speed at Trident for a cycle boat start to finish is 30 days. And that's a 35-foot boat.
That's pretty good.
And what kind of hulls? What kind of hull are you guys using?
Aluminum. 36-inch tunes, 35 by 10 feet 6 inches wide. We have a 90 horsepower Suzuki motor on it. It's got a bathroom, fully plumbed, sweet stereo system, front lounge, built-in cooler.
So basically, you guys
lights.
got like naval architect. You guys got the schematics drawn up for the. Not that I'm like going to start a whatever, but I mean, you guys got a naval architect. You guys got your schematics drawn up, and then, I mean, it just becomes like a rinse and repeat kind of thing, right?
It does in theory, yeah. In practice, we've changed the model probably 3 times over the last 2 years. It's kind of the hard part about building is you're going to make mistakes early on. And you learn from those mistakes, right? Like our first few boats, they weren't the best, like there was problems, so we'd fix them. And every time there was a problem, we learned how to make the boat better the next time. The pedaling mechanics, like the mechanical and engineering part of these pedal boats is like extremely complex to make it last for commercial use. You have 12 cycling stations. Everyone's pedaling to a drive chain, goes through like a little transmission where there's a gear change. You got universal joints going to the back, hydraulic lifts, actuators, lifting the wheel up and down, with the chain coming back with a tensioner system, and then these things go out. Like our operators do on one boat, we'll do 20 tours a week, right? With drunk people pedaling as hard as they can on it every day. So building these boats to be reliable is extremely challenging. And honestly, like out of everything I've done with the business so far, the manufacturing side has probably caused me the most gray hairs, and you'll probably appreciate, I am starting to bald a little bit, if that makes you feel better. Like it's getting
No,
worse.
It doesn't. Dude, there's another man with a great head of hair. It doesn't. When you get to my age, hopefully you can still be rocking the, because I think I got about 10, what are you, 31, 32, something like that?
I'm 36.
You're 36?
Yeah.
Dude, you haven't driven enough boats, man. You gotta get gray going here, bro. You look good, man. Good for you. That's awesome. So you guys, like, how many books on like vertical integration have you read? Because now I feel like TourScale is like the marketing arm of the whole thing. Like, it just seems like you're hitting every single vertical you can, and like keeping everything in house, from like manufacturing to the tours to franchising, and then I'm assuming the TourScale is going to be like. Right, is going to be like the marketing arm.
TourScale, it's the franchisor, right? It holds both Paddle Pub and Trolley Pub, and we hope to add more concepts. Like we're trying to build a platform for tour and activity businesses. They're light touch, right? We're not like super controlling. We just want to partner with people. The things that work best with an economy of scale are going to be done centralized, and the things that operators do best, they do best. So, I wanted to build a franchise that'll make everyone in the network make more money than they would have otherwise, and take away like the common pain points of being a tour operator. And I think it works.
No, I think overall, like our industry is a lot of trial and error. And the thing I love about the franchise model, I mean, I've gotten to know, Justin Buzzy's franchise, Get Up and Go, the Cruise and Tiki's model. And just to see like what type of support you can get from the community, just other franchisees telling you, hey, this is what is, it might not work the same in every market, but in most markets, you're going to see if you do X, it's going to give you Y. And that's something that you just can't get when you open up a new business. All that experience that is going to be shared with you through either like the franchise or the community of operators. And you're just eliminating all the mistakes that you're probably going to make. Yeah, you're going to pay a royalty and you're going to pay some costs, but at the same time, that experience you get immediately, I think, is undervalued in this industry.
Yeah, we come up against that a lot. Like, look, what you're paying for is the fact that I've messed up many, many times over the last 10 years. And instead of you having to go down that same road, we're going to teach you the solutions to all these problems. You don't have to come up with it. And they're much better off because of that. They're not starting on square one, and it's a hard industry. Like being on the water, running a COI'd vessel, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot you don't know coming into it, especially if you're not from like the boating world. And so in the long run, their business is going to be a lot more profitable. What a lot of people don't realize too is that franchise businesses are more valuable. Like they sell at higher multipliers. They have higher valuations because they have that network support. So even though you're paying a percentage, your business is worth more because, when you sell it, there's going to be training built into it and there's going to be an existing network. And it's easier to sell. People like to be a part of the winning team in a bigger community. And that's what we're trying to build.
Do you share customer lists between franchisees? So once a new location opens, do you market to customers that are other locations, or do you keep that proprietary?
Not right now, but that's something we're looking at doing. We share lookalike audiences. So we take the data from a particular market and you can run it through whatever a director of marketing does, some machine,
Sure.
Greg wants to buy your list. And then do you ever sell your list? Straight up. Huge pitch to buy your list.
So we share lookalike audiences, right? It's going to find similar people to what's working in other markets. We don't necessarily sell individual customers, and that wouldn't even be that valuable. Like customers in San Diego and customers in Long Island, they're probably very different.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah.
But you will sell, like, we know who's buying this, right? Like 36-year-old females, 50 to 54-year-old male architects. Like, there's just all these weird demographics and stuff like that you realize that this business is especially appealing to. So
what's the advice for the guy? So this is going to be like run contradictory to like what you're selling. I mean, not you're on the show selling anything, but I mean, you sell franchise. So what do you say to the guy who's like aspiring to be more than just the one, like I'm talking like entrepreneurial wisdom. So because I think this is what happens with a lot of operators, that people get caught working in their business, not on their business. So How do you talk to the guy that's like, all right, I'm one boat, one operator, unless it's not one of whatever it is that you do. And how do you make that transition? What do you think is like the most key piece of advice that you would give somebody that's aspiring to go from like owner operator to, I mean, I wouldn't say you're like an owner operator, Kai. I think you're, like you probably hold a more CEO, role. So how do you go to that executive level? What would you say is the one key piece that helped you make that transition? So you're not just a guy driving a pedal pub we're having a conversation with that does like 35, grand a year or something like that, take home.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing because I definitely talk to people about this and I share advice all the time. And the first thing I ask someone though is whether they really want that. Like, why do you want to scale? And that'll inform the best way of doing it. A lot of people think they want to grow, but when they actually do, they realize that it's more expensive to their life than they realize. You might make more money, but what you're adding is a lot more work and time and stress, right? So people first need to make sure that they actually want to do this, because there's going to be enormous personal and financial costs to you for longer than you expect. And if they have a good reason to scale, which they should, it shouldn't just be, I want to make more money, because there's a lot of ways of making more money than without, opening up multiple cities, right? Or you can get a job or whatever. But like, why are you doing what you're doing? They should be, the good answer is that it's not just about money, but they think they have something that other people don't, right? They have some sort of secret sauce, and they're passionate about what they do, and they want to spread that to other places, and they're very confident it's going to work. If they have that, the first thing you have to do is learn how to leverage your time. That's what scaling is, right? Every hour of your work has to translate into more and more hours of your employee work. The only way to do that is pretty boring stuff like processes, SOPs, policies, right? And then learning to delegate. Stop doing your own bookkeeping. Stop doing your own marketing. You have to free up your time for the maximum high value activities as the owner of your business. And the larger your business goes, the more jealous you need to be of your time, because your time is all you have, right? So you need to leverage it, and you're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're going to need more and more help, and you're going to be more and more effective in leveraging by training people, by getting your brain, as a small operator, you have all this stuff in your head that isn't written down. If it's not written down, you can't scale. What you're going to go to a city, you're going to train them and talk to them, and they're going to remember? No, you have to have a system of training now. Now you have a training manual. Now you have a handbook. Now you have, all these other things. And so it's really the boring hard work up front that's going to allow you to scale later. And if you try to scale before you do the hard work, all you're going to do is work 89 hours of work, and you're going to be constantly putting out fires. Every week, you're going to have something that you're going to get thrown into, right? So there's a smart way of doing that, and that's just data dumping your brain into docking.
Me and Greg, like about a year ago, I would say 50 shows ago, tried to figure out how to scale friendship. And so we were like, yeah, let's start a podcast. Now we have additional 50 friends. Pretty cool. Welcome to our funnel. Our friendship funnel.
I'm here.
We're going to play ping pong next week, and you're fucking in.
Oh, God. I'm terrible.
Yeah. In fact, we did it. I hate to say it, but it's actually like true. Like this show is like we made friendships off this show. It's like and I would like to. I think adding to that to what you said too, and then piggybacking off the joke I'm making. But I think that it's like there's relationships that you form that are like this that are just super invaluable. Like I can't even tell you how many times. Like we've had just people on this show that have just led to incredible opportunities, I think, for me and Greg. And I think that it attests to like the importance of having like a strong network. Like we're all like armies of one, right up until you're not, because I don't know about your personal network, but I have a pretty small one of people that I call, like to shifting from that mindset or that mindset of like being on your own, or if you're a guy that, had a job and then started his own business, like entrepreneurship can be an incredibly lonely endeavor. You don't have work people that you're going to go, your employees, you're not going to be like, oh man, the boss is a real dick, he's fucking being a jerk, bragging about a mustache, so I think it's like, I think it's like one of those things where, I think that can also like really help lift you up as well too. If you have the right people you can call and you're having the right conversations, and like you said, you're leveraging your time in a way that you can get on the phone and have like kind of like bullshit conversations with your cousin or your buddy from college or whatever, and you can have that same like higher level conversation and get ideas and be able to grow your, what would they say, like your network is your net worth is your network, or some Grant Cardone bullshit like that, right? It's like something like that.
No, Kevin, you make some, we talk about like delegation a lot on the show, and it's something that I've learned a lot when I first started Trip Shock and having to give up certain departments along the way. But, relationship building at a high level is part of a CEO's job. I think that some entrepreneurs just think it's wasted effort to not invest in your network. And honestly, the first 10 years of Trip Shock, I hid behind a computer and I just hammered my SEO and I did a lot of the grunt work, and I realized that I have zero brand. Like TripShock is just a transactional business. I developed no industry brand. Now, the folks at Arrival, they're including me in a lot of conversations. Other people in the industry are talking about TripShock, and that's because I stopped and I realized my personal brand, it needs to have some type of forefront. My networking, I have to do more than just hide behind a computer. And that's where kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast is I need to get out there. I need to see what's going on. I need to talk to people and build a network. And then
I need to get out from behind this computer.
Behind this computer, yeah, that's true. But I'm still behind a computer, right? Like I'm still behind a computer. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think that's like such an important thing. Everyone that's just listening, I'm telling you, like, make time for building your network. You never know. I mean, you could be in New Orleans right now, and they're saying that New Orleans is not going to get power back for a month. So you're a business. You're going to be furloughed for a month, and if you don't have a network, then you might not find an opportunity right fast, right? So
I think and not to like be weird, but I think also too, it's like there really is an emotional toll that whole thing takes on you, especially when, you're constantly grinding and then you come home. And for me, it's like my wife and kids. I'm like literally, I like have like a kid in my arm. Like today is like, wah, wah. I'm like trying to like deal something with our CPA and a bank and connecting them to our new bank and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you can just kind of get caught up in this the grind, if you will. But again, like I think like things like, and I'm not trying to pitch our upcoming event or Arrival or anything like that, but it does create these unique opportunities for you to, and it's not even just networking with people, like it's actually having like real friendships with people that understand, this life, this thing that we like endeavor upon. And it's really hard. You're not just going to like go next door to like the local fucking Sal's Pizzeria or something and be like, where's Sal at? Fucking, hey man, let's fucking have a beer, dude. Talk about fucking life, like it's, I've tried and they keep on kicking me out every time. They're like, oh, it's the guy trying to get a fucking slushie, asking for the owner. Like, where's the owner? I want to make a friend. Yeah, so it's not the same,
That's so true. I mean, most people don't understand what we go through, right? As business owners, it seems like from the outside looking in, like people just see that the business is working and there's some sort of admiration for it or something like that. But I think only business owners, and especially in the tour industry, like we all face very similar challenges. And I found that in the early days, I wasn't networking a lot, and I would talk to other people about it, and it's like they just didn't understand. And I remember I went to that first Arrival conference, and we all were having a beer around a table somewhere, just sharing war stories, about things that have happened and about stress and about the business. And I felt so much better. Like even just the process of, like you said, having a friend who understands what you're going through. Everyone wants to share and be heard, and I feel like only other tour operators can really hear you, And then, like you said, the network, it's not just about getting help from other people, which you can't live without it, right? Like I have mentors. I've had so many people help me along the way, and I've needed a shit ton of help, right? Like I'm not like naturally gifted at this stuff. But you also need to help other people. I think that's really important too, is like have people in the network. Like I do it all the time, and sometimes my partner gets mad about a little bit, but I will just help a random person who calls, even if we're not going to get a franchise for them, I'm not going to sell them a boat. I just feel like I'm in the community and I'm going to give them advice and I'm going to spend some time on it just because. No,
Kai, you're just like Kevin and I, because we get shit from our friends and I get shit from our TripShock partners. Like, why are you giving away all your secret sauce? And we go back to the Emeril Lagasse. Why does Emeril Lagasse give away all his recipes? It's like you can give someone the book on how to do something. I mean, there's books on building businesses that are phenomenal. There's books on investing in stocks. And if people followed those books and those processes, they would be millionaires. But the issue is that no one wants to cook. No one wants to cook. They don't want to put the time in. And that's to our benefit. And I personally, when I network and I talk to others, like my time has gotten so limited over the years. I want to focus on folks that have the same outlook that are not going to waste my time. Like I've cut out a lot of relationships with friends and family. When I say cut out, like I didn't like shun them, but I stopped investing time into conversations because they're not.
I'm a rich entrepreneur. Get out of here. Oh, you got a Rolex? No, fucking hit the bricks.
But I've removed a lot of those relationships as far as like the because I'm just not getting a whole lot of value, and they're not doing anything for themselves either. And it's like I'm sitting here giving away advice to them, and they're asking me for it, but they're not doing anything. I'm like, man, that's not good. I'd rather go on my podcast or in the Facebook group that we have. I love helping people in the Facebook group because I know one way or another, like that, it'll come full circle. And I can see you, Kai, giving help to some would-be franchisee, and they might go in a whole different direction, but maybe they come back in a year and say, hey, I remember that conversation. My pool guy did that. I called him up when I moved in. I said, hey, I need some help. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. You don't got to pay me anything. I'll come out. He got my whole pool up and going. And a week later, I called him up and I said, I need to do pool service with you, because I couldn't figure it out afterwards. Like that, it's like that guy knew that I was going to have a hell of a time with chemical because it's a saltwater pool and I don't want to deal with it. And yeah, he called and got the business. But, sometimes when you just go and show, gratitude and show what your worth is, it comes.
That's so spot on. And honestly, we had to do that for us because, like I said, I'm going to help anyways. So we had to build a business model to where we made money out of me helping people. Because I was going to do it. Like I was selling boats to customers who weren't franchisees, and I was spending a ton of time supporting them, and as part of the same time we were building a franchise, we're like, well, now you get to help people and make money. And so I was like, perfect. That's what we'll do.
So Kai, tell me this. So now with, you said the name of your boat building company is Trident
Pedal.
Trident Pedal. So now when you buy a boat through Trident Pedal, if it's going to be under you're not going to sell, like if I'm like, hey, I want to buy a boat from you guys and just start my own shit up here in Northwest Florida and call it whatever I want to call it. And I don't want to be a part of a franchise or anything like that. Are you still selling those boats?
Not anymore. We did at first. We built 22 boats now since we launched. And when we first launched the manufacturing company, obviously I would sell to just anybody who came in. I was eager to build relationships and provide a quality asset and show that the asset that we thought was the best product on the market for the category. The problem is it's not because I'm opposed necessarily theoretically to selling to outside customers anymore. We simply don't have the production space for it. Right. Like we have our queue on new cycle boats is booked out over a year right now on new builds. And so, I really only can be building boats for my franchises right now because we have so much franchise demand that's all we can do. So it's a good thing, right? Like that's part of the goal. I'll probably continue to service some of our existing customers and stuff like that, but pretty much it's going to be franchise only moving forward.
Wow, man, that's pretty incredible. I gotta say, man, that's pretty awesome because go
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I gotta imagine, like, the margins then are like within it's not in the boat, it's within the business. And like, that's where you guys are making it up. And then, I can just see how that all completely works because now you're not like dying to try and make the margins on the boat. You make the margins on the business and you don't have to like kill yourself and you can work with people. And then, yeah, man, that's, God, I feel like I hate it when there's so many more smart people on the show than I am. I feel like I'm just not doing anything with my life, like, damn it, man, I'm just here. This guy's like figured out, like, yeah, I'm selling the boat too. Like, son of a bitch, man. God damn, he's 36, big head of hair, fucking great mustache. Hey, here, man. I'll talk to you guys. Fuck this, man.
I just sell silly boats, Dude, I've had customers call me up. They're like, Do you make those silly boats? Silly boat. So I wanted to rebrand our company and just call it like the Silly Boat Company, apparently. But
I like it.
But honestly, like, yeah. So now when we build the boats, all the colors are standardized. Production is so much easier and smoother. It all goes through one purchasing entity, right? The other part is now, when people call me up, if they're new to the industry, if I sold them an outside boat, I'm going to have to spend dozens of hours helping them get started, no matter what. And so basically, I tell them like, look, you know, you're going to need to join the franchise.
Yeah.
You know, because you need our help and we have the answers, and you're going to make more money working with us than you would without. You know, it's a different story if they're already an existing operator, and the answer right now is we just don't have room in our production. But for everyone else who calls me up, the answer is like, you know, you're going to get this money back and then some, because we know this industry. We're the biggest player out there, and we're going to provide you all the resources you need in an organized way. So,
do you sell like potato chips on the side, or like what's happening behind you, man? What really? That's just like your chip station?
So like, yeah, I have a chip company as well. We just no, I'm just.
I'm like, really? I'm like, I mean, Jesus Christ! I really thought that's where you're going with it, man. Like,
that's the next
I love
thing,
a lot
man.
of chips, so I just get them wholesale. You know,
it's all I eat. I eat chips 3 meals a day, and no. So right now, because I have good internet access, I'm in our Trolley Pub headquarters building. So this is a little beer and wine shop we have here in Raleigh.
I thought there was some weird eccentricity there that I didn't know about. Like that, you just love chips. You're like,
yeah,
you look like a pretty healthy guy, dude.
No lie, like my lunch every single day is 3 beef sticks and a mini bag of salt and vinegar chips. I eat that for lunch every single day.
So you are not a healthy guy.
Is that unhealthy? I feel like protein. You got a lot of good stuff in it. Potatoes are vegetable. I'm just eating vegetables and proteins. It's keto. You know, I don't know.
You know, obviously, building this business has not always been easy, right? So, this situation when you started Paddle Pub, you had some issues with the boat being delayed. Tell us more about that, because it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so in the early days, trying to get one of these boats, like from the process, the first time we got the idea, I was like, all right, we're going to build some boats. To the time we got our first boat, it had to be at least 1.5 years, and we thought it would happen in 6 months. So that process took forever. So I built the first boat out of a contract manufacturer in Indiana. Didn't go super smoothly. It was delayed 6 months and cost like twice as much as we expected. Anyways, we sent that boat up to Madison, to one of our smaller markets where it's done great. And I got linked up with Trident Pontoons, which is our partner down there. They're the largest, probably the largest commercial pontoon boat manufacturer. And I got wind that they were working on sort of a cycle boat concept. And so I went down there and took a look, really liked the boats in his facility, and we ended up striking a partnership, right? So he builds the boats up to the hull, you know, and then I do, on our shop, we build everything from there up. At some point next year, we're going to start building our own hulls, but we need to do it in a way it's not going to impact our speed. Anyway, so I ordered the first boat through Robbie before we started our partnership, and it ended up taking, and I was super excited, and again, green to the boating world, right? So, you know, I drive down to Miami, look for a slip, can't really find anything, and then finally find this spot up the Miami River and walk in there and be like, I need a slip. He happens to have one. It's $1,900 a month. I'm like, okay, cool. So I put the money down, start paying for it, and the boat was supposed to come in 2 months. Well, the boat didn't come for 9 months. So here we are paying for a slip that we can't use. It's really expensive. And he won't let me sublet it out. I learned that some of these smaller marinas and stuff like that, like they'll leave you out there to dry, you know, like he wasn't going to work with me at all. He wouldn't let me out of the slip, wouldn't let me sublet it, kind of threatened to kick us out. But I didn't want to lose my competitive advantage. So I'm like, this is a great slip. So I got to keep paying and paying and paying. Finally, at the end of this period, the boat finishes. We bring it down to Miami. And this is just like one crazy war story. And I hired this expensive videographer, photographer. This is going to be our big coming out party. I fly friends in from other places in the country. We're all together. And literally we take the boat out and one of the brackets that holds up the wheel just shears off. And the wheel's just like dangling in the water in front of all my friends. And after all that work, and then, you know, nothing happened that weekend. I was super bummed. And it was just like my first taste of everything that goes wrong, right? Difficulties, finding slips, signing a wrong slip, not being able to get out of it. Like repair and maintenance issues, boat manufacturers being late, like, you know, that's a normal thing. And just heartbreak that happens again and again. Like I was looking forward to that weekend for a year and it was supposed to be this great thing, and instead we were all sitting in a bar being like, oh man, that sucks, right? Like, so that was how I got into the business. That was my first weekend.
Yeah, man. God, I think everybody, especially in our industry, is like really feels it. Like everybody comes in like bright eyed and, oh man, yeah, boating and money, that always works out, like boats always equate to like money. Like, yeah,
right.
Going the other way, my man. Like that, But you can't separate a boy and his dream. But yeah, like when I started in this business, I was like, I looked like I was Greg, I was like, I was 25, man, and now I'm like, I look like fucking Grizzly Adams, motherfucking, ugh. Yeah, it's some of it, it's like it's like crack, man, it's like those big wins, you're like, and you just keep on. It's like we're glutton for punishment, man. You gotta like either just like love getting kicked in the balls or just love the feeling of like recovering from getting kicked in the balls. Like one of the, it's like either, like you're just waiting for that moment to like, we have cured you of cancer, Mr. O'Neill. You're gonna live. And you're like, yes, but the 99% of the time you're just like fucking like, I'm gonna die.
Dude, that's it, man. Like to actually like being in this industry, you basically have to take the pain. You have to be someone who can take the pain again and again and again. And you're right. The feeling that you get when you fix the problem, like to me, like that's what drives me, right? Like so many mistakes and so many things go wrong and so many like painful moments, even emotionally, along this like crazy roller coaster. But you're right. Like it's that feeling when you get over that slump and you find a problem, it feels so good.
Yeah, I think that the best. I think the best entrepreneurs probably in the world, man. Like the ones that like been able to calcify themselves against these sort of big shots. Like it's really funny if you go backwards too in time and you start thinking about like the gut shots that you experienced in the beginning that you thought were gut shots. That if you could go to that person and go, dude. That's nothing, man. Like, what's coming down the pipe is gonna fucking make you, like, just be like, fuck this, man. Pack a bag, join the circus, whatever it is, get the fuck out of Dodge. Because you think this is heartache? My man, we're just getting started. And sometimes, like, it's almost like a weird excitement. Like, I personally feel, I'm like, oh shit, man, like, what horrific thing is coming down next? Like, this is going to be a real fucking barn burner, And then, like, once I overcome that, like, every year, I just would look back, like, going through, like, COVID, and I'm like, well, if this doesn't beat me, nothing will. And then this year we had another little thing, like, aside from COVID, I'm not going to talk about it just yet. But we had another thing happen, and that it was, like, another, like, whole shit, like one of those moments where, like, world-rocking moments, and it's like, all right, well, we're going to get over that, too. And then we're going to get over it. We're going to get over it. We're going to get over it because like the wheel just keeps on turning and like less you put the brakes on. And I think that's what, a lot of people don't understand. And what happens to a lot of guys, they end up getting burned out. Like unless they're addicted to that one moment where you're like, bing. And it's like, I think it's from the first light bulb. Those of us that it burned really bright for us. It's the first light bulb that went off where the first time you felt like, oh man, I can make this possible. I can make this thing happen. And if I put my mind to it, I can realize it. And you're like looking at your first website and you're looking at your first boat in the water and you're like looking at your first customer, your first phone call. And then, like to that, like you're just always, it's like the band, right? That like got that little like taste of fame or that won't give it up, man. They're like still playing in like 80, 30 years when they're playing like shitty clubs and they're like, I'm not giving up the dream, like I think that's what does it for most of us. You're just like, man, I'm just, not going to give up that ghost. And luckily enough, I think the people that continue doing that, like even if they take, like I've seen a lot of guys take like gone completely backwards or lose everything and like come back from that. And I think that's where it is, that first light that went off in your head. Like if it never shuts off in your brain, like if that light is just still on there, even in the darkest of times, man, it can fucking illuminate, the darkest of times. And I don't know. I know that no matter what trials and tribulations I've faced, it's like as long as that light stays on somewhere in me, like I'm going to, come back and hit it harder. And, and you seem like that kind of guy too, Kai. And I know Greg is for sure as well.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people when they tell me want to scale their business, that's why you have to ask them, like, are you sure you want to do this? Because if that light's not on, that's why I said they have to be passionate about it, because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to take the pain. You're going to burn out, right?
Mhm.
Like you have to have that light, whether that passion is about the business itself or like what it means to you to run it. If that isn't super strong in the beginning, like I said, you're going to get beat up and you're going to quit, right? So you have to have that. The cool thing about franchising too is I get to relive all this stuff now, which is honestly like my favorite part about this, right? I get to meet people who are at the very beginning of starting their business, just like I was 10 years ago. And now I get to relive all these awesome early victories with them. And it's an amazing job. Like it's perfect for me because I love revisiting that and seeing them get excited about it. And their excitement about it like constantly reinvigorates me about why I love what I do. Because without them, I wouldn't be as exposed to that energy anymore, because opening a new city to me now is just like, okay, we got to do this and this. But I'm working with them and it's like their second city they're opening and they're pumped and they're jacked about it. I'm flying out there and they're like waving their arms around and breaking champagne bottles, christening boats. Like
that's awesome.
It fires me up and it's great.
And then you sell them a boat, and then like parts of it break off, and you're like, "Oh, it's part of the whole thing. See you later." You fucking fly out with your own champagne bottle. I'm rich, bitch.
Welcome.
Trust me, man. You're gonna thank me for this later. Like,
yep. It's a learning experience,
dude. That's awesome, man. That's an incredible story you had. That's awesome, and I think our listeners are really, really going to appreciate. We a lot of guys are constantly asking us to have like more guests on and stuff like that. And man, for number 50, man, it's a good story, man, and great to have you and shit, man. Like I look forward to commiserating with you at Arrival, man, or if we end up at our Watersports forum then too. Or
I'm going.
Killer. Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Are we gonna
see a drink?
Yeah, are we gonna see some of your franchisees so we can ask them how their experience was?
Just selling, man.
Are we gonna?
Yeah,
them in.
I'm gonna invite them. I'm gonna invite them.
Yeah.
Sure. So looking forward to it. And yeah, thanks for having me. This is super fun. I've never done, anything like this before. So
yeah, neither have we.
Yeah.
Really.
I can see it in your eyes.
Hey, listen, man. I enjoyed this one. This is a good one, man. Like there's like, I mean, I don't know that there's anybody that's really come on the show that I haven't had some type of contact with, like after via like even like social media. Just as we talked about earlier, not like, that I'm like trying to like, oh man, like put you in my network, it's just like, to be able to talk to people on the same level that get it, that understand like everything, because it's pretty niche, man. You know what I mean? Like the water sport, water tours, whatever, water adventures, that shit that we do. I mean, you sit down and talk to a guy that's like made their money off of, boats and doing shit on the water, like selling boats and being like a marina is like a kind of like a whole, they got their fucking, their like little Columbia shirts like buttoned up, but they're like, salty guys that have like made money through businesses on the water and providing like tourism and fun and like lifestyle business, but also can be extremely lucrative. And I don't think anybody's like necessarily wants to be like a 70-year-old tour guide, so I think everybody to some point wants to scale. So to have these like conversations and talk with guys like understand like water and business and this whole sort of thing, man, it's like a camaraderie that I never thought I would kind of like make again. Like I thought it was just driving the boats. I was a captain before this. So like driving the boat, I mean, I'm still a captain, but I mean, driving the boat.
I see the t-shirt. It's on your t-shirt.
The only reason I like, if I put on this shirt during operating hours, I got it. It's going to happen. Someone's going to call me and they're going to like problem solve. So this is like, everything's like, we have like bad weather right now. So this is like the one time you catch me wearing like a Destiny Water Adventure shirt. Like I am so superstitious about it because every time I put it on, they'll like call me with some crazy shit that I'm like, oh my God, you're like really like, it's something only I can fucking fix. So, we're at the end of our season. So I'm like not wearing the shirts too much. But yeah, so like right now, like and I'm sure I'm going to get off the phone and drive by my docks later to go meet with them for dinner. I'm going to see like one of our boats sinking or something. I'm like,
right.
Like no more. But yeah, you have these type of relationships you make on the water, and they're not as easy to make in an office. You know what I mean? So we really appreciate you coming on and doing the show and sharing your time and sharing your story, man. It's a great one, and yeah, man, it's been a great show. Thanks for doing it, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. If you want to learn more, you just go to paddlepub.com or TourScale.com, and I'm happy to talk to anyone. Really
cool. What's your personal phone number?
Yeah, and Kai, you're in our Facebook group too. So if anyone wants to reach out to Kai, just tag him or message him. He's in there. I see you commenting on things every now and then. All right, well, that wraps it up. We'll see Kai and hopefully everybody at the Watersport Forum October 18th. We'll have more information posted on our Facebook group, and we look forward to seeing anyone there. So as always, keep it awkward.
You've been listening to the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. If you're in the water sport industry, this is the podcast that brings the business perspective to parasailing, jet and ski boat rentals, sailing, snorkeling, and everything else. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Be sure to sign up to our email list at watersportpodcast.com and subscribe in your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time, and thanks for listening.